people. Well, today we're going to be talking about the other part of when you said no, N-O. Now, have you ever been in a situation where you said yes, and at the end of the day, man, you regretted it? You're like, sure, who sent me a message? Oh. We're going to be talking about this and different scenarios, you trust us now, when you said yes to your own detriment. So, let's go to the studio.
What happened was we spoke about how to say no in a very respectful and pleasant way, and then what we got from that was self-preservation, right? And respect is key, you know, or our keys in saying no in the right manner, you know. But we now realize that sometimes people actually pressurize you to saying yes. Yes. And then out of weakness you say yes. So how do we deal with that shit?
Well, sometimes to be polite, you say yes because of society. You say yes, and then sometimes so that you don't look mean or whatever. I think it's still society. You also say yes, okay. Or maybe there's one guy. Let's talk about a guy asking you out, so that you won't look mean or you won't look petty or whatever. You sometimes say yes. Yeah.
For example, we were harassing Yemi last week, and we said she's always saying no by default. You know, so in a situation whereby people are already saying, you know what, you don't even give guys, you know, chances, you just say no by default. You really need, and she probably has a valid reason for saying no all the time, because she probably just hasn't connected, you know, with these guys.
And then in defense of Yemi, I'm sure she doesn't say no all the time.
But she said that with her mouth. That's why we started harassing her last week. Anyway, so in that situation whereby people keep, you know, hitting at you that you say no, one day you decide to give it a yes.
Yes. And then you go on the date or you go for a drink, and then when you are there, you actually discover that your instincts about saying no were actually spot on.
It becomes disastrous. Another classic example. Okay, so there was this guy who was asking a friend of mine out on a date, and he had been pressuring her for months. I want to go on a date with you, I want to go. So her friends finally tell her, you know what, just go. And then she told me, oh, she was going to go, and then she went for the date. She was actually, it wasn't here in Lagos. She was going to go and see a movie at one of the cinema houses. And then when she got there, she decided that she was going to get there by herself. She was not going to go with this guy. And then when she got there, she bought her own ticket and got everything, because you know how guys can be. Okay, I got you a ticket, you have to follow me home and things like that. So she's like, I don't want anything from you, I'm gonna buy my own ticket. And fortunately for her, she got there before him, so she was able to buy her ticket and his, so that he knows that she doesn't owe him anything. And then so when he got there, they watched the movie, and unfortunately she didn't have a car, and so the guy was like, and it was now quite late, very late, and the cinema house was on the island and she was in school back then, you know. So the guy was supposed to bring her back as a gentleman to the campus while he goes, oh, you know what, I live on the island, I can't drive all the way back to the mainland, so I'm sorry, you either follow me back home or you take a taxi back. And this is 11, and we all know security issues. You don't want to just get into any taxi at 11 o'clock at night. And then she told me that she kept on asking this guy, I don't want to go home with you, I need to get back to school. And the guy's like, okay, I'm happy to give you money for taxi, but I cannot just be considerate, I can't drive you down. So she I think for her problem was, it's late, I can't get into any taxi because I have to be very, you know, careful. She ended up going to the guy's place, and then she said that, she told me that that was like the worst night of her life. If she had just stuck to her guns and said, you know what, no is no, she wouldn't have been in that situation.
Well, unfortunately for her, if I'm the one that had collected the money and found the taxi, any which way,
and then prayed about it.
Yes, why did she always, wasn't anybody she could call? But the basic thing is that, well,
the basic thing is that sometimes you need to listen to your instincts. Yes. You know, because you're always right the first time. Yes. And then you don't have to pity the other party just because you don't want to do what they want. I think you owe nobody any explanation.
You don't, well, you see, you said self-preservation. There are sometimes your instincts are shouting yeah, 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 and you don't listen to it because you want to be politically correct.
Exactly.
So when that happens and then things are going wrong, it's time for you to rectify the situation and get out.
Yeah.
Any which way, any which way, my sister.
Let's
or
take
my
a musical
brother,
break.
any which way.
And then when we come back, let's talk about it.
Run.
I can remember a few months ago we're having the program, and Anu mentioned that she had a heavy workload on her desk, and then her boss comes and says, "Oh, Anu, please, can you help me do this?" And then she wants to be nice, but she had like a heavy workload. She said this, and then she was like, "Okay, fine, no problem. I'll," so in her head she was trying to see, okay, how do I multitask? And then shortly after that one went, another boss came and said, "Oh, Anu, would you help me do?"
And she said yes.
And she said yes as well.
Man.
And then she was overwhelmed and felt like she was gonna die. So let's take a musical break. I will talk about how we can be assertive in situations whereby people are demanding and then we just cannot get out of the situation.
No.
We'll come back from this musical break right about now. Please don't go anywhere.
Say no. I was saying that there are some people that are actually psycho. I said I told them yes, and unfortunately the date or the favor just went bottoms up.
Yeah, Ungazi last week was talking about people who manipulate or try to create scenarios that really aren't. Like probably they try to give an impression to other people that we are dating, but we're not dating. So for example, I send you like a letter and I put your last name on that letter as maybe I'm not explaining it very well.
I understand.
So probably like just you create a scenario to make people think that we are dating, but we are not dating. And I think that in that situation there's something really wrong with your mindset. For example, if the person finally says yes to you, do you think you're going to actually enjoy such a date? Because they're saying yes out of pity. Do you really want to be in that situation?
You said the person is not normal in the first place. The person doesn't care.
No, I'm trying to understand from the other person's perspective. For example, you like someone so much and then you've been pressuring them and they finally say yes. Do you think that they've said yes because they suddenly started liking you or because they are pitying you?
The person said yes. As far as the other person is concerned, the person said yes.
And
whatever, it doesn't matter why you said yes. But you actually said yes. And we were in the restaurant or wherever together. I'm happy, I'm okay, everything is fine.
So if at the end of that date it doesn't lead anywhere, what happens?
You still said yes, they went out with you. See, the thing is that some of these things are obsessions, some of these things, you're not in anybody's head, but there's some people that don't really care how they said it.
But I'm just thinking, what about dignity, Shay?
You just like the people that ask for tips. So some people don't care. There's nothing like dignity. You're the one that's using big grammar. Dignity. When you dignity, what does dignity have?
Because I would think that if I was stalking someone, a guy, and the guy wasn't feeling me, I would go and hide myself in shame and then not come out until the scenario is gone.
What kind of shame? You've been able to touch the person. Okay, let's use these movies extreme. You enter the person's house. You see what the person likes. You take 1 or 2 items. The person is happy. The person is happy. They've connected with you in a way that the stalked didn't want, but the stalker was.
But the thing is that that connection might just be perceived because just because I started talking to you, I went out for one date. I was doing it to be kind. It doesn't mean that I was doing it because I started liking you.
English, so you're speaking grammar, my friend. The person asked you out, the person, whatever the preconceptions, whatever the person had in their head, you said yes, you went on a date.
And then you've already shot yourself in the foot.
You're actually okay. So sometimes in situations, it's not about the going out. Maybe there's a neighbor that, okay, has small kids and quickly wants to go around the corner to pick up some groceries. And you're like, okay, I can watch them. And then after 2 hours, the person hasn't come back and like, and you're calling the person, something happened, something like something.
Yeah, people who take advantage of, situations where you're kind, they take advantage of your kindness.
Yeah, in such situations, you know that next time it ain't gonna happen. Well, unless you can really control it, because there's sometimes you are just so compassionate. Okay, you see someone carrying groceries or she has small kids.
What about money? In terms of money,
well, there are some things that you have to learn that. Okay, if you're going to borrow somebody money, borrow them the amount that you can forget about. That will not disturb you. You won't look for the person to return it and all that. That's what I do in such instances. Okay, maybe a certain amount, I know that it's gone, you're not expecting it back yet.
Back to the relationship, in the relationship context, I would just say that at the end of the day, if somebody likes you and then you don't feel the same way, don't say yes.
Don't say yes. But if you're
what are the things
yes,
that okay?
If you're going to say yes, make sure you can manage it.
That's what I'm going to say. Like, how do you manage situations whereby you're saying yes, but your heart is not there?
You have a backup plan of how you're going to extricate yourself. Maybe someone is going to call you, or somebody happens to be in a restaurant where you've told the person that okay, after 10 minutes and all that. Yes, and then or maybe.
But that's quite elaborate.
Yeah. But there's sometimes that
why say yes if you're going to have to devise all those plans to get out of the situation?
But sometimes maybe the pressure of family. Maybe it's your mom and dad that have arranged with somebody else's mom and dad.
Yeah.
Yes, blind date.
Yeah.
At such point in time, to be politically correct and so that you have peace in your life, you say yes. You go on the date, and then most likely the person so both of you know that okay. And then sometimes there's a pleasant surprise, you guys actually like each other. But at that point in time, you guys have to do the obligation. Okay, at least you've seen each other, even if it's 10 minutes. At least you know you guys.
What about phone numbers? Somebody approaches you and says, especially a church member, sister Shay, I've been seeing you in church. I just want to be calling you to be asking whether the Lord is good in your life today. How do you give the number?
At that point in time, you have to find a way of.
Because I hate it when I have to say no to someone that is in my fellowship, but I know that I don't want to give you my number.
You learn how to say no. You have to learn how to say no. You have to find a way of saying no. If you are not going to give the number, then give the person your email address. Or give the person your Twitter number, or they should find you.
They should be tweeting at you.
Yeah. No, there are different ways. Or you give them or you say that I'm sorry, I can't share at this moment in time, I can't share my number with you. And then the person should understand.
But the thing is, because you don't know the person's intentions, you're just assuming.
Well, really me. There was a time I didn't used to give out my number. Now now everybody can call me. But the thing is that once someone calls you and the person is not saying something that you're happy about, you find a way to get off the phone now. There was a time someone called me and after a while, I wasn't feeling what the person was saying, so I just went into the okay. Hey, sorry, what were you saying? I'm sorry, you're breaking up. There
was a client that asked me for my number and I knew that I didn't want to give it to him because he had been looking at me funny. Throughout the meeting, he was looking at me funny. So obviously when your client asks you for your number, you would give because it's a job. But I just felt uncomfortable, you know. But I felt like at the end of the day, it's a job, so I have to give him my number.
But you know, sometimes it's good to have two numbers.
Sometimes it's good to have, especially for things like that.
Yes.
You know, so I gave him my number and at 12 a.m. this guy started calling me. I didn't pick up. Then at 6 a.m. he called me again. You know, he has called me consistently throughout the week and I have not picked the call once.
Wow. Well, at odd times?
At odd times.
Well, he's a stalker, obviously. The guy, does he have a job?
He's a client. That's the thing. I'm producing something for him. So at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I know that if it was very urgent, you send me a text. And then if you send me a text, then I'll know, okay, it's regarding the job, and then I'll respond to you. But he hasn't. It's just calling me at odd hours. So I'm like, you know what? I'm only going to deal with you when you come into the office.
Well, we're women, they are men. You have to learn how to manage such situations.
Alright, we have to fly out of this. Our time flies.
Yeah, so that's how life is. You have to manage how to say the yes and how to say the no and how to stand on your ground when you say the no.
Yeah.
There's really no two ways about it.
Alright, we have to fly. We were just two of us in the studio today. And next week we promise we're going to bring you a full house.
A full house.
You don't want to miss next week's edition.
Yes, I trust me, you don't want to miss next week's edition.
You definitely don't want to miss next week's
You must go on. If you haven't followed us on Facebook, please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and of course go to our YouTube channels and watch everything that goes on in the studio.
Alright guys, bye.
Remember, next time someone asks you out or tells you to go somewhere and you want to say no, say and go. With a smile. And next time you're going to say yes, make sure it's something that pays you. So remember to follow us on Facebook, www.facebook.com, girlfriends on radio 006. Like us, Follow us on Twitter, girlfriends at girlfriends006, and of course our blog. So until next time, bye.